Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from Mokhalaneng, a rural village in the northwest, right? School for me was playful. What I can remember about school, I hated being in the class. I enjoyed outdoors more, right? And I'm not married, and I don't think when I do get married, I don't think any of my teachers will be invited. So the first business, I didn't actually start entrepreneurship in school by selling sweets or anything like that. As a kid, I enjoyed playing soccer all day long, right? I enjoyed going. What I did growing up was go to school, get out of class, play the whole day. I'd get to school early in the morning just to play soccer, and then leave late just to play soccer afterwards, right? And then afterwards, we'll do cows and all the other stuff, right? But only when I got to high school, that I started realizing that how money was scarce. That I left home to go to town in Rustenburg for about 2 years. And that's when I realized that how money now was becoming super important. That I needed money to buy a lot of things and to do just a lot of basic things. I couldn't just go play soccer every single time. So that's when I started thinking, like, how am I going to get extra money? I tried to look for a job as a waiter and in restaurants. I couldn't keep it. I remember the first job I did as a waiter, I was only employed for like 4 hours. 4 hours, they gave me 50 rand and I left, and I never came back afterwards. I was like, this is nonsense. I didn't enjoy it at all. Right. So, but then I didn't find anything to start selling or start doing, but I kept on thinking about it. And I'm ashamed to say that I took long to start actually doing something in entrepreneurship. And then after I matriculated, I managed to get good marks, to like just average good marks, nothing spectacular, no A's as our previous speakers, right? And then I came to Johannesburg. I think the first time I came was in 2005, and I got a loan from a bank to come study. And I did my first year. I did my second year, and I managed to find a soccer team and start playing again. And so I did my second year. My little brother was coming, and to say he was more of a maths and science brain. And I thought, you know what, him in academics, he's doing so well that, you know what, my parents can't afford 2 loans, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to do after this, if I'm going to get a job and be able to pay it back that quick. So I decided to drop out, and my brother came and continued. And my brother got to go study nuclear physics. And so I went back home, and when I was at home, I still needed money. First thing we started doing was I went to preschools, because it was really bad. Back in the villages, there's nothing that happens. Everything is the same. Like when I was there, everything is still the same even today. So we started looking that I got to see, the first time I saw a jumping castle, I was already in high school. Like, the first time I got my face painted, I saw not my face physically, but seeing somebody's face being painted, was in high school. And I thought, you know what, how about we do these things for kids in preschool? If we have a fun day and organize them to pay 20 rand, and then on a Saturday we'll come, invite 10 or 5 preschools to come. There were 8 of us. So I managed to get a whole team of 8 people to do this whole thing, because I couldn't cover the ground of all the villages myself. So I thought, you know what, if we get more people and they come and we get more kids, and we make money. And we made some decent amount of money. But when there's 8 of us and you have to split it 8 ways, and you're back to square one, right? Then you're back to square one, that you don't have that much money. So then I decided, like, listen, I need another business on the side with a few team members. And then we decided to do t-shirt printings as well. And after that was going fine, but what we did was we only printed the t-shirts in Tswana, right? And there's only so many Tswana people you can sell the stuff to, right? and even the stuff that we printed on was in proper good Tswana, that even some Tswanas didn't understand what was written on it. So it was the people you were selling to were not that many. So then we decided that, and I was like, this is not really working. I need another business to start, Then my cousin, at the time I was a smoker. I quit. So and every single time I get stressed that this business is not working and I go buy a cigarette, they will be out of cigarettes in the shops. And I thought, you know what, how about like, and then they'll tell me like, no, the delivery guy hasn't come yet, he's only coming in 2 days' time or whenever. And I thought, how about I start actually start selling to these shop cigarettes because they don't have cigarettes all the time. And I started doing that. I bought cigarettes and started selling them, and then British American Tobacco even decided to give us cigarettes that become our direct supplier. So to say that it later took some of our customers. And then we started doing that. But then most people in villages, they buy on credit. Right? And we sold a lot of the stuff on credit as well. And because as an entrepreneur, you get excited when you sell stuff, you know, for the first time. The money, it does excite you, but the minute that somebody says, yeah, I want it and I'll pay, you get excited and you'll say, I sold this, even when you don't have the money sometimes. And that was now also going down. Cash flow was becoming a huge problem in the business. I couldn't sustain the business. I had orders that I couldn't deliver on. So I was looking for something that I could do now, like, what's my next business? Because this is clearly not working out. And then and that's when I heard Yusuf speak on radio about how they wanted entrepreneurs in Joburg and to develop into becoming world-class entrepreneurs. I was like, you know what? Let me go try and see what these guys have for me. So I decided to take a taxi from Rustenburg, come this side to take one of their tests. It was a numeracy test. I wasn't that bad in maths, so it was fine. Got to go through the first process on the numeracy test. And then the second one was a cognitive test. They said they took 2 weeks to tell me that, listen, you've made it through to the second round. And when I heard them, they said there was three tests that you had to go through. So I went for the first one. 2 weeks later, like, listen, you need to come for your second one. And that's when I decided, this business, I'm getting rid of it. I'm going to see what my next business is. Sold the business with the bit of money that I had. Decided to come here. I was like, you know what? It will take a month, and I'm in the incubation. It didn't take a month. It took 4 months before that happened. So during that time when I got here, that little money I had ran out. I was staying with a friend and his girlfriend in a one-room place. That was not fun at all as well. And then afterwards, so during this time I was like, I kept on calling Yusuf and asking him like, man, what's the delay? Like, when is the third round coming? When are we doing this? I didn't know at the time that they themselves ran out of money. So they couldn't take more, they couldn't take us at the time. So I decided to look for a job in the meantime while I figured out my next plan. I got a job it was a 2-month contract that I got first time. And then I worked that contract, and then at the end, the contract ended, but they didn't renew it. So I was like, okay, back to square one. But then 2 weeks later, the same company called me again to say that, listen, we've actually come work for us again. And I did work at the company until for another 2 months, which is now 4 months, and that I was working for them. And at the time, I were to then contact me to say, listen, come for the third test, which was to prove our working ethic. So they wanted to see if we can deliver on certain work, right? And I managed to, just to cut long story short, since I got 2 minutes, I got into the incubation, and into the incubation, I started a tour business called XA Tours, tour operating company called XA Tours. Because when I was coming to Joburg, I was very discouraged that, you know what, Joburg is very dangerous. There's a lot of bad things that happen in Joburg. And when I got here, it was totally the opposite. You go to Hillbrow, right there, there's different nationalities from across Africa. Nobody tells you about these things. And even the food is also great, you know, nobody tells you these things. So, and that's what I decided to start my company, telling different stories and showing a different side of Joburg. So currently, then ever since we started the business, we managed to make partners along the way, which this is our best partner, by the way, currently right now, Josie Connect. And yeah, and so the things that I didn't learn in school, for me, the first thing that I didn't learn in school, some of the guys actually mentioned that, you know what, finding something that you're really good at and keep going at it, right? And for me, I knew that I wanted to be successful, but I didn't have a plan on like how I was going to do it until later on in life, that, you know what, the only way I'm going to be successful and determine my own destiny was through entrepreneurship. And that's the thing, that you need to find the thing that you love and continue on it, right? And the second thing that I didn't learn was in school, honestly, creative teaching would have been great, you know. The reason I enjoyed playing more because it was fun, and being in class all day long was not fun, right? It wasn't fun. And if we could make teaching somehow very fun, I think I would have done well in maths, and I was going to invite some of my teachers to my wedding one day. But I don't think that's going to happen because it wasn't really fun for me at all. And I think especially for teachers, they need to find more ways and more creative ways to teach learners. And not all the learners have the same concentration span or have the same abilities as well. So you need to find a way to engage all those students on a different level. Cool. So that's my say.